okay, Corgi. It's okay. Good morning. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today, it's going to be a gorgeous 65-degree day here in my town, and we are so looking forward to spending some time outside today. And I'm still working on trying to get this thing to work so that I can do dog yoga. It's so hard. The only time I've been able to do that was when I was away, and I have a friend who actually is a really good photographer and video shooter, and she did a whole one of these Facebook Lives on dogs yoga when I was at the beach, and it was really awesome. But without Lisa here to film, it's really just almost impossible, but we'll see if I can figure something out. Anyway, I'm sure people will be hearing today about the tigers at the Bronx Zoo that have contracted COVID-19 and are wondering about their pets. Now, I'm not a vet and I'm not a doctor. I'm a physical therapist, and I have worked in a lot of nursing homes. And I also have had therapy and service dogs for 25 years. So, and I've brought those dogs to nursing homes and hospitals. And so I know a fair amount about diseases that can be transmitted to and from your dog to humans. So one of the things that I work with a group called Pet Partners out from the West Coast. I love that their motto is the human-animal bond, enriching the human-animal bond or something like that. But they test dogs and they run a pretty active organization. TDI, Therapy Dogs International, might be one that people are more familiar with. But Pet Partners has for years, first of all, you can't really take your dog to a nursing home if it's on raw food because they think he's going to contaminate everyone. And a lot of these organizations have argued and argued because, you want your pet to be healthy because you're bringing him into an environment where it's not healthy for a dog. But one of the things Pet Partners has also said is that the risk of your dog picking up something in a nursing home is far greater than your dog giving something to someone in a nursing home, which is true, and that is true in your own home too. So over the years, there are several things I've learned to do with my dogs when they are leaving a nursing facility, and this goes for when I was working there full-time and also when I was just doing therapy visits with them. So the most important thing is to clean the feeties. And I have two friends now whose husbands both were on quarantine for 14 days. One actually had it and the other one had exposure to COVID-19. And they both have dogs. And the husbands were not allowed to see the dogs during that entire 14-day period. Now, if you're like me and you live alone, or it's just you and a kid and you get it and you want to protect your kid and your pet, make sure you follow these recommendations I'm going to give you today to help you keep your dog from spreading it or getting it. I mean, we have to assume that these tigers at the zoo were not being patted on the head and snuggled up like we do with our dogs. I mean, the guy was probably touching their food, maybe breathing on them a little bit, but would you be closer than 6 feet to a tiger if you were a zookeeper? I don't think so. So this is pretty contagious. I mean, he's cleaning out their water, maybe he was sneezing in it, who knows. But it does raise concerns for our pet. So what I recommended, particularly to my one friend whose husband was on quarantine and their dog is older, and they have kids, so the risk of letting the dog in where it's not supposed to be or having the husband pet the dog when he's coming out of the room to use the bathroom, etc., pretty great. So what I had her doing was using baby wipes. Now, you can hardly get baby wipes now. But I use Burt's Bees because they A, smell good, and B, don't have any nasty chemicals on them. And this virus seems pretty susceptible to soapy water. Wipe off the feeties of the dogs a lot. One husband was in his room the whole time. No possibility the dog could have walked through it. But in the other house, definite possibility that the husband could have sneezed or coughed or even breathed on the floor. and the dog could have picked it up. So she was wiping the dogs, all 4 feet, a couple of times a day at least, especially when the husband had been out when he wasn't supposed to be. She had a lot of trouble maintaining him and 2 kids, let me tell you. The other thing you can do is take those same wipes and wipe the whole dog off with them, and wipe their ears and wipe all around their chest and down their back. And if you're using any kind of spray-on flea or tick thing, make sure you reapply it, because particularly in the Burt's Bees wipes, there are some soaps and stuff that can diminish the effect of the oils you're using for flea and tick, like the Kin and Kind or the cedar oil. So if you don't have baby wipes and you're in your house, like my friend was, and she's not going out and she couldn't buy baby wipes online, she had a few left from something. Another option is to just use a mild soap like Mrs. Meyer's soap and get it nice and sudsy on a washcloth or a small towel, which is then going immediately in the wash, and wipe your dog's feet and dry them so that he's not running back down the hall where the husband just was. And also wipe off the whole dog's coat with the soapy, quite like sudsy washcloth. And that's another way to try to get some of the virus off your dog. And after you've wiped the dog everywhere, wipe the dog's face too, to get anything that's around his nose or eyes. And you might want to use that a different thing like a tissue for that, so that you're not spreading the virus anywhere else on your dog. Now, we don't know if dogs can actually get it. We didn't know tigers could get it either. But there was that dog in Japan who they found it on her nose. She's a little Pomeranian. Lots of lovely little small dogs in Japan. And, you know, that just makes you wonder. I mean, you know, most people that are trapped in their homes do not necessarily have the skill to see how sick their dog is. Now, these tigers are coughing. They're assuming they'll make a recovery. I don't know. Let's hope they do, because they're quite endangered and we don't want to lose any tigers. And we don't want to lose our dogs either. Now, again, if, for instance, the one husband that was quarantined but not really sticking to the rules, would it be safe for his dog that may or may not have been exposed to come play with my dog? No way. I would not let my dog in close contact with another dog that's been living with somebody with COVID. Just because I don't want to get it. I don't want my dog to be exposed. I don't want anybody in my household to be exposed by petting my dog. So you should quarantine your dog too if you've got that kind of a situation. And we still don't know, you know, if that dog in Japan was sick, what happened to him. They thought it was from him licking the floor or something where the person had coughed, because they just found it on his nose, and the dog seemed completely asymptomatic, as do many people. So the other caution, oh, my sister and I, this is a horrible situation. When we were kids, we had some friends that loved Great Danes, and the girls had a cold, several of the children, they were in high school, and they were coughing and sneezing a lot, and there were lots of tissues in the house, in the trash cans. One of the dogs, a young one, got into the trash can, ate a lot of the Kleenex, and developed a humongous gut impaction. So, by the same note, please keep your Kleenex and stuff away from your dog under any circumstance, but certainly if you've got somebody in your house who might have COVID, like my friends with their husbands. So, and also clean all the surfaces with something that, you know, a disinfectant, or again, soap and water is really good for this virus. I use Mrs. Meyer's soap on my floors in my house, and I would just use an extra thick coat and wash them down and let them dry, and then give them another cleaning, so they're not just sudsy, if I had somebody spreading virus around my house. And I may have to do this when I start seeing clients again. God knows when that'll be. Because who knows? I mean, I won't know if they're sick or not. They won't know. And so I will be probably cleaning the floors quite a bit more after this. Wipe around the eye area too, yes, but not with the same cloth you've wiped the body with, because if somebody pets your dog with COVID and then you wipe that and wipe here, it's spread respiratorily, so use a clean thing on the face. And, you know, for instance, the things that my dogs have been exposed to in nursing homes: flu, all kinds of bacterial digestive infections, scabies, other skin diseases, all kinds of cold and respiratory diseases. Have my dogs ever gotten sick from being in a nursing home? No. Scabies, however, is particularly contagious. I mean, I wanted to put my dog in a plastic bag, and I think, in fact, they were wearing some of their coats when they were in there. They have some made out of fleece. I mean, they were hot, but if anybody touched them or coughed on them, I could throw that in the wash. So, I know a fair amount about keeping your dog safe under these circumstances. And, just the same as with humans, wash your paws, wash your hair, put everything in the washer, and use lots of soap and water. And don't wash your dog in Purell, especially if you don't wash your cat in Purell. And don't use, any alcohol-based cleaner. They're saying, and they have been all along, and this is true with lots of other bacteria and viruses, just soap and water will clean it. Now, if your dog has a heavy exposure, like my friend whose husband was running around and being bad the whole time and not staying in his room, once he was cleared with a second test that was negative, she gave the dog a bath. It's a little poodle. It hasn't got any hair. It was no big deal, in and out. And she feels a lot better about the dog being around the children now because she knows that dog has been sudsed up. So that's another option. And my dogs, when they were working in nursing homes, sure as heck got a lot more baths than they do now. In fact, this young man might need a bath very soon. He says, oh no. He's really cedary right now because the ticks here are pretty bad, so I don't really want to wash him off until I really have to. Let's hope dogs and animals don't become scapegoats. Oh God, let's definitely hope that. I mean, they are innocent victims of our stupidity from the start to the end of this. Our, humans mismanaging animals in either labs and or markets in China, and, the way that we treat them. I mean, if my friend had locked her dog in with her possibly positive husband for the week, that's not really taking good care of the dog. The dog is an innocent victim in that circumstance. So yeah, I mean, let's hope, because as you know, Kurt, lots of people have been posting online that they've heard of less educated folks thinking, oh, my dog's going to get it. I've got to get rid of him. And let's hope that doesn't get around. In fact, what's happened is tons of shelters had been emptied out by people wanting to foster dogs. Hopefully they'll keep dogs after this, because once you get them in a routine and get them trained, you can leave them while you're at work. And dogs really do give us a lot emotionally and otherwise, as we're discovering deeply during this period of time. So soap and water, wash your dog, wash his paws, and keep him away from sick people. But if you have a husband that won't stay in his room or kids that are letting the dog in that room, soap and water, and a bath is always a good resort. And make sure to clean around your dog's face with a clean cloth, or I use tissues on my dog. Not toilet paper, it's too valuable, but maybe I'll share anything with him. So thanks for joining us today. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe. Enjoy the good weather if you have it. They're getting so much snow out in California right now. I'm like, really? April? Snow in California? I mean, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. They need the water, and it's a good way to store it. Stupid people don't deserve dogs or pets. Well, stupid's a relative thing, too many stories on that regard. But people can be educated. I have a friend who got a dog for the first time in her 40s, never had a pet, any kind, in her entire life, decided to get a pet for the family, didn't really understand anything about feeding them more as they grow bigger, didn't understand how much bigger a puppy might become. Thank God she didn't get a Great Dane. Didn't really understand anything about their medical things, vaccines. I mean, nothing, knew nothing. But that person smartly called me every day for months saying, what do I do? What do I do? So, dumb people can be relatives. So she's raised that dog, and it's a happy, healthy pet now. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I can get this tripod aimed upstairs and get that to work. We'll see. I don't even know if I can get Wi-Fi up there, but we hope so. We have it today. Another milestone. All right, thanks for joining us.